Hello everyone, welcome to this product demo. I hope you can hear me well and see my screen. If not, please inform us about that in the chat section. So my name is Daniel Jibawi. I've been working at Veeam for more than 2 years as an Insight Systems engineer. Today, our topic will be an overview of one of our most famous solutions, which is called Veeam Backup and Replication. Of course, feel free to ask your questions in the chat section. I'll do my best to answer them all during the session. So yeah, as I just mentioned, Veeam Backup and Replication is our most famous solutions for the backup of all types of infrastructures, whether physical, virtual, or in the cloud. Today we reached 11th version. Right now we have V11A available for everyone to download and use. So basically, speaking about Veeam Backup and Replication, we speak about 4-in-1 solution. It combines storage snapshots as well as backup replication capabilities. Our newest addition to V11 is the continuous data protection. If you want to achieve near zero RPO and you want to synchronize your VMs between the production and the DR sites. So all those features and capabilities are under one solution. In the latest updates, we included lots of enhancements. So basically more than 150 enhancements, including powerful backup, cloud, security, and automation capabilities. But we just want to bring to your attention that we also have some other solutions, let's say value-added solutions. So, for example, if you are interested in advanced monitoring and reporting capabilities, we would recommend you to look into Veeam-1. Veeam-1 is a solution that will allow you to monitor your virtual environment as well as your backup infrastructure. Also, you'll have the reporting component upon which you can generate reports like for capacity planning, modeling, reports related to auditing, and so on. So if you are interested in Veeam-1, you can get Veeam Availability Suite offer, which will include Veeam Backup and Replication and Veeam-1. Additionally, if you are interested in advanced DR capabilities, you may look into our Veeam Disaster Recovery Orchestrator product. This product provides you, like as I mentioned, advanced DR capabilities. Also, it provides you the ability to generate dynamic documentation and automatically test your failover plans. So yeah, if you are interested in getting all the products, you can check with our sales the Veeam DR pack, which will include all those 3 products. So let's speak about Veeam high-level architecture. This is just an example of how it could look like. So here on the left side, we see a virtual environment. We have VMware ESXi, Hyper-V, and Nutanix HV hypervisors. So for those hypervisors, we support agentless backup approach. So that means in order to back up those VMs, there's no need to install any software inside their guest operating systems. Veeam will like trigger or coordinate with the hypervisor in order to do the snapshot and use the snapshot as a source for the backup. Besides the virtual environment, we have physical, non-virtualized infrastructure. So for example, if you may have physical Windows servers, Linux servers, maybe workstations. So for those, we have the agent-based approach. For example, we have Veeam Agent for Microsoft Windows, Veeam Agent for Linux. Then, of course, we have our management server, and the brain of the whole process, which is the backup server. So basically, a backup server is a Windows-based machine to which Veeam Backup and Replication is installed. It could be physical or virtual as well. Then we have the backup proxies. So the backup proxy component is responsible for pulling the data from production, doing the software compression and the duplication, then creating backup files which will be stored on the backup repositories. So if we are dealing with a bit large environment, we may create more than one proxy server for load balancing purposes and in order to get the best performance possible. So yeah, we target our backups to a repository. I just want to highlight that in Veeam, there's no hardware lock-in. So basically, you can use any direct attached storage, any NAS device, or a dedupe appliance. All those could be configured as your backup target. In this particular example on my slide, we have configured a scale-out backup repository. A scale-out backup repository is formed out of 3 tiers. First tier is the local extent or the on-prem storage. Okay, so the backup, first of all, comes to a local storage. Then we have the capacity tier. So to the capacity tier, we may add an object storage. For example, a cloud-based object storage such as Azure Blob Storage, AWS S3, or any S3 compatible object storage. This is useful if you want to offload a copy of your backup to the cloud in order to maintain the 3-to-1 rule. 3-to-1 rule, it literally says you should keep 3 copies of your data on 2 different media, and one of them should be offsite. So if you will be maintaining this rule and following this rule, you will be following best practices in general in data protection. If you do not want to, by the way, regarding cloud-based object storage, we also support the cold cloud storage or the archive tier. So if you have, if you want to leverage the cold storage of Azure or AWS, feel free to add it to your Veeam console and offload your backup files to there for long-term retention. If you do not want to use the cloud, you can use tape. So you can get a tape device, a tape library, attach it to a tape server that will be added to your backup infrastructure. And also tapes are a good option for archiving purposes and as, for example, as a media, which you can take offline and take it physically to another location, which basically helps you in maintaining the 3-to-1 rule as well. So enough with the slides. Let's jump into the actual demo. Again, I would remind you to post your questions. Yeah, so if you have any questions, feel free to ask. Now you should be seeing my lab where we have Veeam backup and replication installed. Okay, so this is how the console looks like, the console of our solution. And here down on the left, we have those sections, yeah? So let's start with the backup infrastructure. So in the backup infrastructure, here we will be configuring backup proxies. You can assign the proxy role to servers in your infrastructure, whether physical or virtual. Then we will be adding our backup repositories, so the target for the backups. Let me show you the wizard. So basically, if you click add a repository, you will see the available storage types that could be added as your Veeam repository. So it could be a direct attached storage, NAS, we support SMB and FS protocols. It could be a dedupe storage appliance because we have special integration with them, for example, with Dell EMC Data Domain, Exagrid, HP Store1. So if you are going to use those dedupe appliances, you can benefit from additional hardware deduplication. And of course, we have the object storage. In V11, we introduced a feature, it's called hardened immutable Linux repository. So it's very useful if you are interested in protection from ransomware topic, and I guess everyone is interested in this topic. Basically, it's a very hot topic nowadays. So what you can do, you can add a Linux server, okay, a Linux server as your repository. This Linux server, it will be added using a single-use credentials that will not be saved on the backup server. Then you can enable immutability. So like this, make recent backups immutable, and you will specify the number of days for which you are interested to have the immutability. So by immutability, we mean two things. First one is the prevention of any modification to your backup files. This is one. And number two is prevention of the deletion of your backup files. So this is a great protection from ransomware or any, let's say, bad employees. Yeah. This is immutability on-prem. However, if, for example, you are using AWS S3 storage, Amazon, they have their own technology for immutability, which could be leveraged by Veeam. So the backups stored in AWS S3 could be immutable as well. So immutability is available on-prem and in the cloud. So make sure to enable this feature in order to get like a better protection for your backup files. So also here, yeah, if you want to offload your backups to object storage, you can configure a scale-out backup repository as it was shown in our slides, and add your object storage to capacity tier or the archive cold storage to the archive tier. Okay, now let's jump into the inventory section. Okay, in the inventory, basically we need to tell Veeam what elements of our infrastructure should be protected. So we can see virtual, physical, file shares. If we want to start with virtual, we should go here and click Add Server. Now we can see three virtualization platforms: VMware, Hyper-V, and the Nutanix AHV. Because for those three, we support agentless approach. So if I have VMware vSphere, if I have a vCenter, yeah, it's recommended to add a vCenter. Here you will be requested to specify the DNS name or the IP address of your VMware server. Or if you don't have a vCenter, you can just simply add standalone vSphere hosts. Then you will provide credentials, and the end result will look like that. So you have your VMware vSphere, vCenter servers, and you will have the hosts and the clusters. And inside here, you will have a view of your VMs. So here we are just seeing our VMs. And right away from here, we can start creating backup jobs for those VMs and so on. I will show the wizard of backup job in a few moments. So same for Hyper-V, we have Hyper-V here added as well. And the Nutanix. Okay, what about the physical infrastructure? Because backing up physical infra is done using agents, we have here one extra step, which is basically installation of the agent. But good news, Veeam Backup and Replication provides you automatic and centralized installation and management of the agents. So for example, let's say I have some Windows-based servers. First thing I need to do, I need to create a protection group and include those servers to the protection group. Let me take an already created protection group. So first step will be the name. So we can just simply name it like our physical Windows servers or whatever you like. Then the type step. Yeah, on the type step, we need to choose how we want to populate this protection group with computers. If we choose the first option as individual computers, so basically you will just be providing manually the DNS names or IP addresses of your computers to be added to this protection group. However, if you have an Active Directory, it will be much easier for you because you can specify your computers as Active Directory objects. And in this example, we are using this option. So you will be selecting your domain, and then you will be choosing the objects from this domain, yeah, to be included in the protection group. And later on, we will be doing backup of those computers. Okay, I guess testing environment, something wrong with the credentials, but the idea is clear. We have exclusion step and the credentials. we should provide credentials of the operating systems, because basically the agent will be installed on the operating system itself. And on the options step, you see this one, install backup agent automatically. So whatever we included in this protection group, now Veeam Backup and Replication will pass the installation files and will install the agents on all those computers. So this is what we mean by centralized deployment and management of the agents. Of course, then I can see the component that will be installed, and the end result will look like that. So physical infrastructure, my protection group, and the computers inside. So here's the IP address, last seen it's online, and the agent is installed. So then I can simply proceed with creating backup jobs. Yeah. By the way, physical infrastructure, here also you can add your workstations, because yes, Veeam can also back up your workstations, endpoints, laptops, even for the remote employees. Then we have file shares. So if you have, let me show you how to add the file share. If you have a file server or a NAS filer like Enterprise NAS System, or simply you have NFS or SMB shares, you can add them to your backup infrastructure in order to later on to create backup jobs. The benefit of using enhanced NAS backup feature of Veeam for backing up your NAS is that we have a great technology. Let's call it our magic. Yeah, it's called changed file tracking. So with the help of this technology, Veeam can easily detect the changes on your NAS device, and that will allow Veeam to create incremental backups very quickly. So if you have NAS, feel free to download and test the product with an evaluation license for free and use the enhanced NAS backup option. So after we finished adding our infrastructure to the inventory pane, we will go to the home. So here, home, we will start configuring our jobs. Of course, we have lots of job types. Let's start with the backup jobs. Okay, I will randomly pick a backup job. So let's say this is a backup job, for example, for VMware VM, and it's running an Active Directory. So let's walk together through this wizard. So first step will be basically setting a name and a description for our job. Next step, here we will be defining what objects will be backed up by this particular backup job. So in our example, this backup job is backing up only one VM. However, the recommended approach is to do some sort of grouping. So you have a group of VMs for which you need to apply maybe same retention policy settings, yeah, or they are found on the same host. So why not to include them in a single job? This will be a great approach. So you can click here, add, and you can like do different, let's say, sorting or different views for your infrastructure. So right now, I'm in the hosts and cluster view. So I will be adding my VMs according to hosts and clusters. So yeah, I can add this host. You see, so all the VMs on this host will be processed by this job. Simply, you can put the VMs and template view. So if you want to pick up directly VMs like this, or you can do the sorting by or viewing by data stores or VMs and tags. So if you have tags on your VMs, so you can basically just choose the needed tag. Okay. So like this data lab tag. So all the VMs with this tag will be included in the backup job like this. Let's go next. Next, we have the storage step. On the storage step, we will be defining the proxy, the backup proxy, which will be taking care for this job. Of course, if we are speaking about a small environment or you are simply doing testing, the backup proxy component will be the same as your backup server. No need to worry about that. But if we are speaking about large environments and where we have multiple backup proxies, we can do some sort of customization and fine-tuning where we can force Veeam, okay, or force a certain proxy to process this job or the VMs in this job, okay? Or you can simply leave automatic selection. Then we have here the backup repository. So from the drop-down menu, you would choose the backup target. So, okay, I need this job to back up those VMs, and this should be my backup target. So you choose it from this drop-down list. Then you'll be configuring retention policy setting. So specifically here, you will be configuring your short-term retention. So like 30 days, yeah, maybe more or maybe less. Okay, you can put it in points as well. Okay, this is short-term retention. But let's say you need to keep some backups for longer period of times, maybe for archiving purposes. So you can enable this option, keep certain full backups longer. And here you can specify, so for how long do you want to keep those full backup files. So maybe in this example, so I will have 30 days short-term retention, and my long-term retention will be 4 weekly, 7 monthly, and 1 yearly. As for the backup type, yeah, or the backup mode, it's incremental, yeah, by default, and it's basically the recommended option. So it means the first backup file will be a full backup, and all the consecutive backup job runs will result incremental backup files only for the changes. So basically this saves lots of time, decreases the pressure on your infrastructure, the network, and saves some space on your repository. But let's say like to be on the safe side, or maybe you have a special requirement, you need to create periodic full backups. This is fine, yeah, and it's doable. You can here instruct Veeam to create either synthetic full backups or active full backups, and of course specify when they want to create them. So usually the customers just create them on a weekly basis, maybe like every Saturday, like in my example. Let's show just quickly some advanced options. We can perform or instruct Veeam to perform a health checks for backup files. This health check will basically detect and auto heal corruption. Also, you can remove deleted items, yeah, and some other advanced options are available as well. Unfortunately, we don't have lots of time to cover them all, so we need to proceed. If you have a secondary target, like another repository, maybe an offsite repository or tapes, yeah, you can here link a backup copy job, yeah, which is used if you have another target, or a tape job if you are basically using tapes. So you can link backup copy job with the backup job, or tape job with the backup job. Then we have the guest processing step. This is a very important feature basically. So in my example, yeah, I'm backing up a VM that has or that runs Active Directory. Active Directory is considered as a supported application by Veeam, yeah, supported for consistent backups. So that means I can guarantee that all the application data will be backed up correctly. What do you need to do? You need just simply to enable application-aware processing here. I just want to highlight that with Veeam, you do not need any extra software for the consistent backup of application. All what you need is to enable this option here. Among other supported applications, we have like databases, let's say Microsoft SQL Server, Oracle database. For the databases, you can specify how you will be backing up transaction logs. And backing up transaction logs later on will allow you to restore your database to a certain point in time. So like here, SQL, yeah, you can back up logs, for example, every 15 minutes. So also you can enable application-aware processing for Exchange, SharePoint, okay, and as I mentioned, Active Directory, databases. Then we have the schedule step. So basically, you will be specifying how often do you want this job to run. Like most widely used option is daily specific time. Of course, you can change it upon your requirements. So once you will create the job, you can do some sort of monitoring here, how it's going. If you have any warnings or errors, they will appear here. Once the job is completed successfully, you can go here to disk, find the name of the job, and this is the backup. Once you right click, you will see the available restore options. First one is the instant recovery. This is an option I love. What's the use case? So let's say you backed up a VM. Yeah, it's working on production, all is good. Suddenly, VM failed, and you're in the middle of your day. Of course, your goal would be to get back this VM like up and running as soon as possible. In this case, use instant recovery. Once you will be using instant recovery, what will happen? You will be, let's say, live mounting the backup file directly to the host. So as if you will be working on your VM directly from the backup file. And this procedure will allow you to recover any VM within a couple of minutes. So even if you backed up a physical server and it failed, you can restore the backup of a physical server to a virtual host. If a VM failed, you can restore it to another virtual host or another even virtualization platform. Then we have instant disk recovery. Of course, the classic way of restores is the restore of entire VM. You can restore disks, VM files. Also, we have granular restore options. So for the granular restore options, we have the files and folder restore. Maybe you were working on a document, on a presentation that was corrupted or deleted by mistake. So there's no problem with your VM. The problem is with the document that you lost. In this case, go here, restore guest files, choose your operating system. In our case, it's Windows. And then you will be choosing the restore point. I will choose the latest one. You click next, next, and browse. So now backup browser will open, and I can browse my backup file in order to restore a specific file or folder or multiple files or folders. Okay, so yeah, see here, C, can deep dive, go further. So I need this one. Right click, restore. I can overwrite, or I can keep both versions. And I can copy to another location if needed. So very user-friendly, very easy to understand, and very useful feature. So remember, we enabled application-aware processing for Active Directory. Yes, so we have this option available now, which is application items restore. So for the supported applications that I mentioned, we have an application item restore feature. Again, here I'm choosing restore point. I love to choose the latest one in my demos, but in real life, you may need to choose an older one. So for every supported application, we have Veeam Explorer for application item restore. In my case, I'm using Veeam Explorer for Active Directory. Okay, so let's wait for the backup file to be mounted so that we can explore it together. Yeah, so here I can go, for example, demo. They have those demo users. So if I deleted this user by mistake, I can click right click and restore the user to original location or to any other location, or I can simply export. Also, I have this great feature which is compare with production. Okay, so it compares object state from backup with original Active Directory objects. So I guess the concept is clear. Similar explorers we have for other applications, for databases. So for databases, you may need to restore a specific database. Well, use Veeam Explorer for Oracle, use Veeam Explorer for Microsoft SQL Server. Okay, so those are quickly like the available restore options. Let's just, I can just show you the other available types of jobs. So we explored the backup job. Here we have a replication job. So replication job, if you have two sites, production site and DR site with another virtual infrastructure. So basically you can synchronize your VMs, like replicate them like VMware VMs from production side, replicate them to another ESXi host in the DR side. It may be in another location. So upon any issue in production, you can simply fail over to DR side and continue your work from here. Once you fix the issue in production, you can do a failback, and in order to save all the changes back to production and proceed your work there. If you want to add some sort of automation, you can create Failover Plan. In Failover Plan, you will specify the order how your VM should be launched upon any failure, upon any disaster in production, and what should be the delay between them. So replication is based on snapshots. So basically we need time to create snapshot, to take the data from snapshot, and then to delete the snapshot. That's why replication is not real time. However, in V11, we introduced CDP feature for VMware infrastructure. So CDP, it means real-time synchronization, or let's say real-time replication. The difference between CDP policies and replication jobs is that CDP doesn't use snapshots. So here we are using VMware technology, which is IO filtering. And you will be synchronizing your VMs in real time. Okay, so here you will be achieving almost zero RPO. Then we have backup copy job. So it's simply if you have like two repositories, primary one and secondary one, you want to just copy the backups to another location, to another repository for better production. This is tape jobs, and we have sure backup. So sure backup, what's a sure backup? Sure backup, it's about automatic verification of your backups, or let's say recoverability verification. What basically will happen, using Veeam, you will create an isolated environment of one of your on one of your virtual hosts. Then you will create an application group. Okay, the isolated environment is called data lab or virtual lab. Then you will create an application group, which is list of dependent VMs that you want to verify together. After that, you create a sure backup job in which you will instruct Veeam to test those VMs in this isolated environment. What Veeam will do a restore of those VMs into the isolated environment and perform such tests as ping test, heartbeat test, application test. Okay. Additionally, you can instruct Veeam to scan your VM for malware and viruses. This is called secure restore. Okay, so this is sure backup for verification. Very useful feature, and it's automated because basically you can set a schedule. So just quickly show it. Because it's a job-driven process. You see, this is virtual lab, where the testing will be going. This is application group. So basically, what VMs will be tested. I can also test some other backup jobs. Okay. And okay, here I can scan for malware, okay, by leveraging an antivirus. I can also do an backup file integrity scan, and here's the schedule. So yeah, how often do you want to run this job? Daily at specific time. So you configure it once, and that's it. You will be just checking reports after that. If your sure backup job is successful, that means you verified the recoverability. No need to do anything manually. This is a great feature and one of my personal favorites. Okay, so here we have storage infrastructure, because we have like, let's spend some more minutes on this feature. So storage infrastructure. If you have like one of compatible storage devices, I mean for production storage, you can add it here to this section, and after that benefit from backup from storage snapshot feature. So in this case, Veeam, instead of using, let's say, VMware snapshot, will be using the storage snapshot produced by your storage device. The benefits are decreasing the load on the virtual environment and increasing the backup performance. Additionally, you can use the storage snapshots as restore points. Yeah, so you can do restores from the storage snapshots. Okay, so basically we are a bit out of time, like 5 minutes beyond our time. But if you have any questions, it's the perfect time to post them in the chat section. So you see, those are the snapshots. You can right click and you will see some restore options available to you. Maybe I forgot to mention some important restore options as well. Let me go back here to this. So here, if for example you lost your on-prem infra, you can restore the backup to a public cloud. We call it restore to cloud. You can restore it as Amazon EC2 instance, or as Azure, Microsoft Azure VM, or as a VM in Google Cloud. As for physical servers restore options, they are pretty the same, in addition to the bare metal recovery option. So if you lost your physical server and you got a new one, you can do a bare metal recovery to a new physical server. That will be available to you as well. Okay, so basically that's it. We are done with the demo. I would recommend you to visit our website. There are lots of materials and resources there, free trainings. Additionally, I would personally recommend you to download and install the product into your testing environment, get an evaluation license, and test all the features for free. If you would have any questions, feel free to reach out to your local sales, local engineers, requesting demos, asking questions. Okay, we would be glad to hear from you. So if there are no questions, I wish you a great day, and really thank you for joining this session. So we expect you leave a feedback, okay, on the session and on myself as a presenter, so that we can constantly improve our work and the content we are delivering. Okay, so have a great day, everyone. Bye bye.